Let's make a Google form. Sign into your Google account and then go to Google Drive. Once you're in Google Drive, in the left-hand side, you're going to click on the red button that either says New or Create, and then find Google Forms. Once your new form is open, you're going to notice in the upper left-hand corner it says Untitled Form. This is where you can click to rename your form. I'm going to call mine Sample Form. When you're inside of a Google form, you're kind of on the back end. So on the back end, you're going to have 3 different sections where you can change settings and add your actual questions. So the first section is called Form Settings. These settings are going to control who can access your form, how, and it has some fun functions like shuffling your question order or showing a progress bar. So I encourage you to read through these and decide, do you want your users to have to log in to view your form? Or can they just get to the link on the internet without logging into an HF email account? I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the require HF email account login. That way anyone can access my form. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go down and actually add my questions. Okay, inside of this area, here is my title that changed whenever I changed this title. So that's my form title. I'm happy with it. I don't want to change it. Below that, I have an area called Form Description. In this area, I can add instructions or explanations, or I can leave it blank if I'd like to. I'm just going to add some text that says, Testing Google Forms. Okay, this area below the explanation text is my question, my very first question. So here I can type in my question title. I'm going to ask a simple question. What is your favorite color? Help text is where you can type in more instructions or explanations. So I'm going to put be honest. And then I have my question type. There are various types of questions that do different things. For more explanation of these different questions, you can look in your written instructions that were linked in the document before this. So I'm going to choose multiple choice, and then I'm going to enter my choices. So I'm going to put blue. If I hit enter on my keyboard, I jump down and can keep adding more options. Okay, so now I'm finished with my question. I have the question, I have my choices. If I wanted to change the order, I could. I could click and drag here and do that. When I'm done, I can click done. This blue button. Next to the blue button is a section that says required question. If you check required question, your respondent will have to answer that question before they can turn it in. So I'm going to go ahead and make it required. Then I click done. And you can see that my question kind of shrinks down here. If I wanted to keep adding questions, I can click Add Item, or I could copy this question with the Duplicate button. I'm finished with this portion, so I'm going to go down to the next section, Confirmation Page. This is where you can add a nice message. So I'm going to say thank you. And then I have some options to add links to that final page. I can show a link to let the form kind of appear again to submit another response. I can publish and show a public link to form results. That will be in a graph. This is really cool for surveys. It's not so cool for tests whenever you want students to not see what everyone else had already put. So check or uncheck that depending on how you want your form to be used. The last one says allow responders to edit the responses. So this gives them sort of a second chance to make a few changes in case they made a mistake. So I'm going to leave the show link to submit another response, and I'm going to go ahead and publish a public link to the results. Okay, I'm finished with all of my settings. I want to go ahead and check how my form looks. So I'm going to click View Live Form. It's kind of boring, so I'm going to go ahead and close this window and go back and change my theme with this Change Theme button. Once I do that, I get a list of different themes, so I'm going to go ahead and pick these little flags. That looks good to me. I have to click back to edit questions to get back to my edit screen. And now I think that I'm done. So when I'm done, I can click on Send Form, and I can either grab a link to post to send out to whoever I want to get to it, or I can type in email addresses and send it as an email message. In this case, I'm just go ahead and click Done, and I'm going to click View Live Form to show you how you can fill it out. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and answer my own form and say my favorite color is blue. And then I can click Submit. Let me just show you, let me reload this and show you what happens if I don't choose anything. If I click Submit, see, it tells me this is a required question, you have to choose one. So I'm going to go ahead and choose blue and Submit. Here is my confirmation page, so I can see previous responses, and I get a nice graph of all of the responses so far. I'm going to close that and close this as well and go back to my forms, my form here, and you can see it says responses 1. So right now one person has responded. If I click on the View Responses button, I'm taken to my spreadsheet where all of my data is getting pulled into. So Google automatically made the form, and then it made a spreadsheet for the responses to go to. So here I'm going to have a different row for every person who fills out the form. So right now I have 1, and then I'm going to have a column for each question. So if I had, 4 or 5 questions, I might have columns A through F filled. So this is an easy way for you to open up your data that's been collected from your form. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. And that's pretty much Google Forms in a nutshell. I'm going to close this to show you the Google Drive folder where I was working. Here is my sample form, and here is my sample form responses, which is a spreadsheet. So go ahead and open up Drive and make your first form.